Welcome to the weekly Embarcadero Webcast, where each Monday I go through news and upcoming events and articles and blog posts and Q&A that have come up in the past week on the Embarcadero community site. So I use the Embarcadero community site. This is our Community 3.0 homepage as kind of my outline, and then I link to lots of different pieces and parts across the whole Embarcadero community. And if you've never used the Embarcadero community site before, this is the homepage, and then we have these pull-down menus for different blogs, article types to get to the forums and such. You log in. If you can use your login from the developer network from the past, which is the same login that you use to register the products. Or if you've never bought one of our products, but you're here, welcome. You can register and create an account on the community site. So I'm going to log in. I'll click the login link, and I'll go and put in my username, and I'll put in my password if I can remember what it is, and then click the login tab, and then I'll be logged in. And once you're logged in, you have additional rights to do things and to see things, to post questions, do replies, post comments on articles, and so on. So now I'm logged in. It says, welcome, David I. Again, the menus, we'll see here some notifications, so I can click and see, oh, I got a private message, and so on. There's some friend requests, so sure, I want to approve friend requests, and then I can post, for example, messages just for friends only or for the public or privately. You can even post a message to yourself, maybe as a reminder, I don't know, or a split personality. If you click on, let's see, then up here there's some messages as well. We'll save those for another time. You can click on your login and get to your profile page where you can share your status, share a photo, videos, events, and so on. So I might say I am speaking right now on the afternoon session of Delphi Week. And I'll share that publicly. You can also share that with site members or friends, for example, or share it with myself. It's always funny. So let's post that. And then down here is sort of the history of what you did. So you can remind yourself that I befriended some people and posted comments, updated a blog post, wrote an article, and so on. This contact information. Here I am. Some of my friends. Here's a... You can put in profile, biography type information. You can, again, see your videos, your photos, create groups, see what groups you're a part of. So here, the groups that I have, for example, my groups. I don't know what I joined here, but it looks like I joined Android and iOS and OS 10 and Windows. That sort of makes sense as to some of the groups that I'm a part of. And then I can go back to the profile page and do other things. Then go back to the home page. There's several parts of the home page. There's the news area. There's the featured area. And okay, there it goes. So this is the featured area. We go in and we tag certain articles and videos and blog posts and news items as featured, and then they show up a main featured item and two more featured items. The upcoming events area, the community calendar, has 5 things. Most recent Q&As that have popped up, some new users that have joined, latest news for news items that are tagged, and an activity stream. Looks like Serena's been posting on the blog. If you want to see upcoming events, you can right mouse click and open a new link for the full events calendar. Same thing for questions and answers. You can also get to it up that way. And the news items are just down there. So we go over and look at some of the news that's going on. JT posted last week information about our iOS 64-bit beta that is going on right now with the 64-bit toolchain for iOS. We did a webinar a couple weeks ago and invited customers that had Rad Studio and had bought the mobile upgrade pack or add-on pack. And we invited them specifically because we felt they were the most ready to get started and helping us with the beta test of the 64-bit iOS, which became a requirement by announcement from Apple that starting February 1st, all new App Store application submissions have to have 32 and 64 or 64-bit in them. So we wanted to make sure that as we were doing the compiler work for 64-bit iOS for Delphi and C++ Builder, that people could get to it. Some people said they didn't get the email. Others wanted to be a part of it because they're starting their mobile development. So JT put this article up last week that's got a link to the email address and the things that product management would want you to include in the email that you send. So you can take a look at that article. And as always on these community webcasts, I'll do a blog post later today, which will have all these links in the blog post. So you'll see some of the past ones where I do that as well. So it makes it easy to get to all the links that you need for the different articles and things that I'm showing during this webcast. Also, each month for the RAD tools and for the developer database tools, we put out a global newsflash newsletter. Instead of sending lots of emails with individual events that are taking place, we still send occasional offers and other things if you have your email flag turned on. But what we're trying to do is give you the information that you need on a monthly basis so that we don't clog up email inboxes. So in the RAD News Flash, again, there's information about upcoming events, about white papers, about webinars. Update subscription is an upgrade to our maintenance and support offerings. We'll talk about that in a moment. Some of the skill sprints taking place, some live events and other things. So you can click on the link to try and click and get to these different events by reading the title and the short description. If you're interested, then go and learn more. Same thing for the Database News Flash. Database News Flash comes out monthly and has information about upcoming webinars. There's a white paper on avoiding the top database administrator mistakes that you can go and get the white paper. We have videos and webinars that are live and upcoming, but we also make all the webinars available on demand so that you can click and watch them after the fact. If you missed one or you missed a part of one or you wanted to go back and re-watch a certain part of a presentation or demonstration. So all of those links are included in the news flash. And one thing I wanted to point to in particular is last week we put up a page and announced that we've upgraded our maintenance and support offering to what we now call update subscription. And update subscription you can add when you purchase our products or upgrade to a new version of our product. And with update subscription, we'll give you updates and hot fixes for current major releases, ongoing maintenance, which means where we can, providing updates and hot fixes for up to 2 years and 3 major releases that have happened in the past, early beta access to hot fixes, updates, and upcoming releases, all major upgrades. So, for example, we're in version XE 7 right now. As we move up to the next release, as long as you have your update subscription active, then any releases that come out in the annual update subscription period that you choose, you'll get 3 annual developer support incidents. So if you have some problem you need our support engineers help with, you get 3 of those each year. You get access to all of the special offer, the special bonus packs and all the pieces and parts of those, as well as we're going to start producing some specific videos and have online events and technical content that's specifically available to our update subscribers. So take a look at all the information that's available on the update subscription page as part of a way to have a tight relationship, the next generation of our traditional maintenance and support offerings. On the events page, if you right mouse click and open up from the heading or click on the heading of the events homepage, on the community homepage, you can see all the events that are scheduled, and they go out pretty far. And there's multiple pages after that. You can go next, as we find events that we're scheduling or places that we're going to be. For example, Jim, in April, I guess if I go to the next page, there might be a Delphi Developer Days somewhere along the April timeframe. Let's see if it's already been put in there or not. Looks like maybe we have to edit. Okay.
There it is.
Huh?
There it is.
Oh, there it is. Yep. That's the meetup in the evening Jim is going to do at the Chicago Delphi Developer Days. So there's a calendar entry there. It'll show you what time and where it is out there. So you can keep going back to the events page for all of that information. We're trying to keep it updated. This Wednesday, there's a Developer Direct live event in Berlin for Rad Studio XE7. Matthias Eising, our excellent software consultant out in Germany, is going to be doing live events in Berlin and in Stuttgart on the 24th of February. So here's the calendar entry for that, and there's a link here. If you need more information, send, if you're in Germany or speak German and nearby, germany.info to Embarcadero.com. So the community calendar has live events and online live events and on-demand events in it as well. Okay. Here's another one this Wednesday. Congratulations, you're a DBA. Now what? It's going to talk about using DB Artisan, but also issues you have to think about. We've got 2 SQL Server MVPs, John Starrett and Mike Walsh, are going to be online on Wednesday at 11 o'clock Pacific time. And Scott Wells, our Director of Software Consultants, is going to be there as well, talking about life as a DBA. So if you're interested in database administration and learning about how to live in that world, go and register and join that event. Here's the landing page for the skill sprints. The top half part on the left-hand side has the schedule for the Rad Studio XE7 skill sprints. Jim is doing a deep dive into futures in the parallel programming library on tomorrow, Tuesday, February 10th. And down on the lower half of the left-hand side is the FireDAC series of 10 skill sprints. On Thursday, Array DML is going to be covered, and then you can see the other schedules. It also has the updated, and there's some newer ones that show up on the replays linked on the landing page on this side. There's also, for each of these, you'll find a YouTube playlist. Embarcadero TechNet is the name of our channel for Embarcadero Technologies, and the developer skill sprints going all the way back are also available here. And in fact, they show up on the playlist as they're uploaded, and then that landing page gets updated over time. Here's the skill sprint registration page and schedule. Again, Array DML. And there's a YouTube playlist for the FireDAC skill sprints. Every other Thursday, except for this Wednesday, February 11th, ER Studio. So if you want to learn more about best practices for doing data modeling, reverse engineering a database, and so on, every other Thursday of the month, there's online live demos of best practices using ER Studio. Again, they're on Thursdays, except for this week. It's on Wednesday, February 11th. DB Power Studio is the alternating Thursday, and that's using DB Artisan, Rapid SQL, DB Optimizer, and DB Change Manager in your world. And so if you want to learn how to build great SQL statements with Rapid SQL, debugging stored procedures, for example, tuning your database, profiling your database, doing change management on your metadata and data, that's covered every other Thursday. Next one will be February 19th, next week. This is our technology partner spotlights that Jim was mentioning. Those take place every Friday at 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. We don't have a later time for this series because that would take us into Saturday in parts of the world, or late night Friday night. We have a whole schedule lined up for this quarter and more to come in Q2. This is the schedule right now. This week on Friday, Fast Reports, and then Schema Software, Code Healer, Metoff Software, Nostis, CibleSoft, and Sigilizer. And again, we'll have more to to come in April, May, June, and on and on and on. So check out the Technology Partner Spotlights, where they showcase and show you how to use their components, their tools, and their libraries with Delphi. And there's also a playlist on the YouTube channel for Technology Partner Spotlight. And I'll get last week's things up there. On the blogs page, there's several things. We've got a few featured bloggers on our employees, Pavel, JT, myself, Brian, Serena DuPont. Jim blogs on his Delphi.org site, but the feed comes into the blog feed. So you'll see that on the home of the blog. Down here, for example, I think we've got one with Jim. Let's see. Oh, maybe it scrolled off, or we can go to the older. And there's a lot of stuff coming up. But yeah, Jim, what we do is we feed the blogs in. There's some Russian blog, and so on. So Marco blogs externally, but his feed comes through, and Jim's feed comes in as well.
Is mine? I wasn't sure if mine was coming in or not yet.
Yeah, I think it was. But then again, I probably scrolled past it. I thought I saw it. But here's Jay. Steven posted. Well, we'll figure that out. I thought I saw it in there. But in any case, Serena just posted a blog today, for example, visualizing TPath data at design time using the Live Bindings Designer. So when you see these in the main blog feed, just open up and take a look at the blog post. And here's her article on the blog about, putting down the components, putting down a TPath, a prototype bind source, a style book, and so on. And then live binding these together. And then down further, seeing the path data that shows up in the data portion of the TPath component. You'll see the path data. So there's the M for the move to a certain coordinate, doing a line to, and then another line to, and then the Z at the end saying you're done with the path to draw this triangle. And the same for TPath 3D as well. You'll have a depth coordinate, a Z-axis coordinate, if you use the TPath 3D in FireMonkey. Brian Alexakis did a skill sprint last week about how to use TrueType fonts in your VCL and FireMonkey applications as another styling capability. In addition to using the style files and the bitmap styles, he uses these fonts, and then by using a Unicode character, you can put an image, or I don't know what to call it, a fonticon, I think some people call it. He used Font Awesome. Font Awesome is a website, and you can go and get some free fonts, just like dingbats and those other kinds of images that are around.
Yeah, it's an open source font, so you're free to use it however you want to.
Yeah. So Wingdings, I guess, was the other one. So Brian did a follow-on during the skill sprint. Someone asked, well, gee, could I use FireMonkey's, for example, animation to have spinning icons, rotating icons, spinning icons? And Brian did a follow-on blog post and short video about spinning icons to visually cue load status, for example, using Font Awesome as a TrueType font pack. And in his skill sprint, he goes through how to package up the font and send it along, for example, with your mobile app in the app bundle. Serena did a blog post. It was actually a week ago, a couple weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, but she's been updating it. When Apple released iOS 8.1.3, actually, we started seeing some new things that Apple was doing in a beta of 8.2, which is supposed to come out sometime this spring. We weren't sure, but then Apple decided to push out 8.1.3 as an update. And some developers were getting an unable to install package error, this 3A, I'll call it, error, when they were trying to deploy a Delphi and C++ Builder iOS app to a phone that was using iOS 8.1.3. And what Apple did is Apple wanted to do a little more security about the app and where it's coming from. So you now have to include your organizational unit ID as part of the info P list and in your application. So Serena's been working with the development team and with feedback from developers out there. She's come up with 3 different options. that you can explore for it, depending on whether you have your own account or maybe you're part of an enterprise account. And so she's titled them Option A. And then Option B, if the steps above didn't quite work, means your Apple ID prefix is different from your team ID, please follow the steps below. So that's the Option B. And then Option C are designed to resolve 8.1.3 deployment issues if those other two options didn't work for you. It means you'll have to make some changes to the project level. So very detailed instructions and bitmaps about how to make sure, and there's been lots of responses about people that are using and other tidbits that are found. Now they're working on a hot fix, so we don't have to do all these manual steps. I don't have a date or time for the hot fix yet, but stay tuned. Serena will blog. We'll make sure everybody knows about it. And again, this started showing up in 8.2 beta. They pushed it out in 8.1.3, and then maybe 8.2 will come out. Stephen Ball, who's here or on his way here to Scotts Valley.
He's here. I talked to him earlier.
Okay. He put out 3 blog posts over the weekend. People have been asking about the new Interbase XZ7 change view technology. So he put a 3-part blog post up about change views. The first one about what is a change view in Interbase XZ7. And then the second part was how do you create a change view? So you actually call create subscription and then on a table and then allow people to look for changes in certain parts of a database table, for example. So that's how to create a change view. And then a third part about using a change view. So you can take a look and see how you subscribe to a certain database table and then get notified when changes happen as part of some other application that might be running. So if you're interested in Interbase XZ7 and change views for higher performance notifications about changes versus having to refetch all the data, do a refresh all the time, you can just set up to be notified when changes will happen. Now, some of this is manual as it relates to Delphi development today, but we're working on updates to FireDAC for the future so that you can subscribe through component interfaces and options to change views. This is a link on my blog post. Each week, as I mentioned earlier, I do a blog post after the recording of the community webcast where I put all the links to the different documents and articles and news items and downloads and questions and so on, so that you don't have to sit there and pause and type down the links. I give you all the links. Now also here it's got the YouTube replay, so you can click and go watch that from the playlist. And we're also putting these community webcasts up on Youku. Youku is a Chinese website like YouTube because developers in China are having trouble getting to YouTube. So we put the videos up inside of China and now each of these articles has the link to the Youku video over in the Chinese site. All right. Another big area of the Community 3.0 site is the answers area. I hang out also on Stack Overflow and on User Voice and the Google Plus Delphi community and a whole bunch of other Delphi communities. I listen to Delphi feeds and watch what's going on and try to keep up to date. Plus, I have my own alerts and feeds. But this is a new area we've added in Community 3.0. It allows you to post questions and for community members to post answers and also vote for answers that they like. So all of that is available when you log in, the ability to do voting and post replies and comments. You can always see the questions and read the answers that people are doing. So here was one about Android browser animation. Vincent wanted to animate the browser on and off the screen of the device, have it show up and come away. And Serena posted a response giving him the steps and the code to be able to move the web browser in and out based on button clicks, for example, as an example. And when you're logged in, you can vote not only for the answer, but if you like that question, you can also vote for the question to say that was a good question. Should be able. Oh, maybe I logged out and logged in, so that's probably what happened there. Here, Daniel was asking about his C++ apps were not running on the emulator, so we wanted to make sure that he knew about the fact that if you're running an emulator inside of a VM or not, sometimes it's slow, and Jim's done articles about not only how to create the emulator and use it, but how to do remote Android emulation so you're not on the same machine with the emulator that's there. So Serena's got a couple of posts about apps and how to use the emulator effectively. Kevin had questions about how to use the standard template library for C++ on the different target platforms, and he was saying he was having some issues in doing a stream operation on iOS and OS 10. And JT has answered that on Windows, we use the Dinkomware standard template library. On iOS and Android, we use the STL that's provided by the platform. So you want to make sure that for iOS and Android that you have updated standard template libraries from those companies, from Google and from Apple, and make sure. And then he has some advice down here about how to use the stream across the different platforms. So hopefully that helps Kevin. Hopefully he'll reply back. Let's see. Chris was saying that they were getting some Windows 8 tablets, in particular the HP Stream 8 tablet. Wanted to make sure that he has that method. It'll produce apps for it. And yes, as long as it's a Windows 8, it's using either the Intel or Intel Atom or AMD processor, then the applications will absolutely work. Jim's got a Dell Intel Atom tablet, and we run apps on there all the time. And Chris replied, "Thanks, Serena. Glad that's the case. They just ordered some." I guess that was where he was working. All right, just a couple more questions, and then we'll be done with this part. This is Paul was trying to use TList view and live bindings with a query, a SQL query. He was trying to make sure the data was getting connected. He was having some issues, and so I connected him to two different tutorials that we have about using live bindings to populate a list view, both from a database as well as from a prototype bind source. And wherever you see prototype bind source, replace the prototype bind source in the binding with your query component, whether it's FD query or something. And then when you execute the query, the list view will get populated with the right underlying database or row set that comes from the query. We already talked about update subscription. Just wanted to go through a couple of special offers that are available. You can always go to the RAD offer page, Embarcadero.com/RAD offer. That will tell you the latest offers that are available for developers who are purchasing and or upgrading to the latest version of our products, RAD Studio, Delphi, and C++ Builder XE7. There's these big buttons at the top that get you down further. Upgrade from any previous version, XE3 and beyond. Get the upgrade pricing if you have XE2 or earlier. To get the upgrade price, you can purchase the upgrade with 1 year of update subscription, or support and maintenance was what we called it before. And then you get that lower price and can move forward with us. If you purchase Enterprise, then we will give you a free 10-user deployment license for the Enterprise Mobility Services. And we also have the bonus packs, which includes Marco Cantu's Object Pascal Handbook, Castalia, the plugin, ID plugin for Delphi 2014.11, Premium Styles, and the Meta Converter for converting VCL forms and applications at Delphi to FireMonkey. It even will see database components, and it'll build the live bindings, bind source components for you. So it's a very cool tool. We have the basic edition, and then you can upgrade to the Pro or Studio versions if you want to move your VCL apps forward to FireMonkey. Also, we announced today that we have our buy one, get one free offer is good until the end of March, and it's got this countdown timer. For a limited time, if you buy RAD Studio, Delphi, or C++ Builder, you can choose a second Embarcadero tool of equal or lesser value. And there's information down here about the terms and conditions and so on. You also get the free bonus pack downloads that are available of all the tools. Terms and conditions, you can read that page It's out there, and it says when you must purchase, and then your free product must be redeemed by April 15th of 2015. Okay, and then there's a page once you've registered your XE7 update or new license purchase. You can go to this license.cogear page and choose a free product from the products that you chose. So here's the list of products that you might have purchased during the time period or upgraded to in the time period. And so if you pick one, for example, if I did a Delphi, let's go to Delphi Enterprise. Let's do an Enterprise name user upgrade from XE3 or later. Then it'll show you down here what the available free products are that you can choose from. So we are Studio, DB Optimizer, Change Manager, Power Studio, Rapid SQL, and so on. So those are the products. So it's sort of a what-if analysis. You can say, well, what if I had Delphi Architect Name User ESD? Again, here's the list. What if I upgrade or purchase the Pro? So let's do Pro upgrade from Starter, for example. Then there's some different choices. So again, you can go and play around with what product you're considering upgrading to or purchasing, and what free products of free choices that you might get, including deployment licenses, for example, of Interbase XE7, number of user licenses, or the older XE3 to go edition. All right, so that's a little about the buy one get one free. You can explore all of that. And with that, I think I've covered everything for this week's Embarcadero Community Webcast. We'll see you again next Monday. Doing it live here because we're here live in Delphi Week, which brings me to the Delphi XE7 homepage.